Oh Lord, I just got through the LGBTQ A B C D X Y Z to the second power. I have to make fun. It's ridiculous, right? It's becoming longer by the day. So I just got through the town hall, and it was like, what do they want? Like, criticism sandwich, okay? The guy that opened with the national anthem, great voice. The lady that, the tranny that had the white dress, she was banging. I love that dress. I like her weave. She was on point, okay? I'm not gonna knock that. But it was just incredibly frustrating to watch that and watch these politicians promise these people like things that they can't promise and they're not gonna keep. Like, for instance, of course, gays get discriminated against. Of course, trans people get discriminated against. Of course, they get, abused and beaten and everything. But it's like there are already laws in place for that. Same thing I would say when it comes to black people, women, there are already laws set in place for discrimination. Well, like, somebody can't discriminate against you if you want to get a house, or if you want to get a car, if you want to get a job, or if you have a job, But in those cases, they only work so well because when you're not a good person, when you're going to discriminate against somebody, they'll usually find ways around it, right? They won't come out and be like, oh, you're gay, so we're not gonna give you this house. They'll just find another way, a reason, right? And then it's hard for you to prove. It's not impossible, because there have been people that have been able to prove that, but you'd have to then in that case prove it's because your race or your sexual orientation or your sex or whatever that you were denied that. So as far as the laws goes, there are already laws in place. Like, more laws is just going to make people more resentful. And I don't understand. Like, they were talking about discrimination. Of course gay people get discriminated against and beat up. I'm not denying that. But I mean, it's just frustrating, because I would say this about the black community too, to watch these people pander to the gay community when they don't plan to help them. Why aren't they talking about real shit? Why are they like doing shit like getting bathrooms, right? Like, I went to Starbucks a few months ago, and there's one bathroom, one toilet, but there's the sign that says gender neutral. Really? Does that really make things better? It's one bathroom. It doesn't matter. Why don't they just put bathroom? Why do I have to put gender neutral bathroom? Right? Because they're being PC, right? Camille Paglia, who's a gay feminist, she has a very good little snippet. You can probably Google it on YouTube. I'll put it up later but anyway, it's like Google Camille Paglia Transmania, and she talks about like how all through history, whenever society has pandered to transsexuals, and it's become like it's a sign of like the demise or decline of the society, right? Because it ends up like you're talking about like senseless stuff. Like, our time is being wasted, and it's taking focus away from real problems that need to be solved. So with, why aren't they talking about shit like, when I was a kid, I had a lot of gay friends, and one of the biggest issues I felt was a lot of my friends were afraid to come out for being gay because they don't want to be rejected by their family. And the ones that were found out got kicked out of their house, or they were rejected, right? And like, how about teen shelters? Teen shelters should be a huge thing, right? Or mentorship or counseling, like, gay big brother, sister, like mentorships to help these people like cope, right? Because their families have rejected them as children, right? And there's another thing too, which I believe, with everything that's going into the schools and, getting people to talk about sexuality at an early age, and talking about same-sex relations in kindergarten. It's like they're trying to make more people gay. And as I've said, it's not a charmed life. Like, even my gay friends don't want to be gay, right? And they're talking about, conversion therapy needs to be banned. Well, guess who's the biggest advocate for conversion therapy Gay people, hello, yes. The one of the guys that was a huge advocate for conversion therapy just came out for being gay, and a lot of the counselors said they're gay. I don't think it works, and I don't think that, like, you know, especially if you're a child, that you should be forced into conversion therapy. There are actually people that that are gay that actually want to go into conversion therapy because they don't want to be gay and they think that's going to help them be straight. But they're not talking about that. They're just acting like, you know, they're not talking about the gay involvement in conversion therapy. They're just talking like about like, oh, like conversion therapy is being pushed on, like, you know, like a prison sentence or something, right? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, why don't you get the facts straight, right? Why aren't we talking about, you know, like transsexuals and stuff? Why don't we talk about the hormones in our environment, right? Like the BPA chemicals that are inducing, you know, homosexuality and gender fluidity in animals, right? Why don't we talk about like the MCR5 and the WI38 cells and vaccines that's also been theorized to cause gender dysphoria in animals, I mean in humans, right? Why don't we talk about that shit, right? Why don't we talk about PTSD and sexual trauma, right? Most of my gay friends and people I know that are trans, they've been like had some sexual trauma. And I think that's a huge factor. So you can even argue that maybe, you know, environmental factors aren't a huge deal because gay people and trans people have been around since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, when we started releasing all these chemicals into the environment. Okay, but then we can talk about the sexual trauma, right? That's associated with that, right? Because I think that the gay people that I know, they struggle a lot internally, and I think that they would like to ponder a lot of these things. I think they would like to have this information. I think they can either choose to accept it or reject it, or add it to their arsenal of the physical, the mental, emotional turmoil that they go through as to why they're gay. You know, I remember when it was discovered or announced that the gay gene was found, and I had a lot of my friends that were really happy because, you know, they were like, oh, they found a gay gene. Because this is the deal too. A lot of people that are gay, and I'm speaking from like my friends and talking to them and seeing what they've gone through, right? They'll be like, I'm gay, and then their family members will find out, and then their family member will be like, oh, well, you shouldn't choose that lifestyle. They're like, wait, I'm not choosing to be this way, I am gay. And they're like, no, you're choosing to be that way. So when the gay gene was discovered, it was very, like, a lot of people I know were happy because they've been all this time they've been trying to like prove or tell people that it's biological, like they're born this way, like it's something in them that they feel that they can't change, right? So then here comes another layer to that, which is epigenetics, right? So I know I'm going a bit on scientific tangents. I hope you guys can keep up with me and I'm not being too confusing. So flashback, the Human Genome Project, when they wanted to dissect the human DNA, or dissect the human DNA and the human genome and figure out the genes and, you know, what makes us what we are. So by that time they were like, okay, an earthworm has like 20,000 genes. So a human being must have like a billion, million, I don't know, however many genes, right? I don't know, like 100,000, a million, you know, they thought that they had a lot of genes, right? Compared to an earthworm, because of course we're more complex, we're bigger, you know, there's so many layers to us than there's an earthworm. Lo and behold, when they finished, they found out human beings had 20,000 genes. Oh, wow. So what makes us more complex than an earthworm? More epigenetics, right? So there's another field of science that not a lot of people know about, but it's very respected and it's gaining popularity, is epigenetics. And that's how our genes affect, or our environment affects our genes, right? Like the experiences that we have and the physical things we put into our body and the things that are around us, that affects our physical development, our emotional development, our mental development in every way, okay? So, you know, if you add to that, you know, genes have to be activated. So there's a gay gene, but it has to be activated. It has to be switched on. So what are the things that are switching things on, that are making people gay, that are making people gender fluid? You know, like if you think about when somebody goes into transition and have a sex change operation, I don't know. I'm saying this. A lot of you guys probably you don't know this. So anyway, So you're given hormones. So say, you know, I had a friend that had transitioned, became, you know, had the sex change to become a man. This is a little graphic, so if there are kids watching, maybe shouldn't. But what they do is they like invert the penis, and then they also, before even they do the operation, they put them on hormones, right? So they grow breasts, their jawline becomes a little bit more feminine, they have more feminine features, and then vice versa if you're a woman, right? You're given hormones to make you more masculine, right? So if there are hormone disruptors and blockers in our environment, and you're, you know, eating them through food, eating them through, you know, getting them in your environment, you know, you have sexual trauma on top of that. You're being injected with, you know, human DNA when your mother is pregnant with you and while you're forming as a baby. Maybe these are things that are contributing to that. I'm not saying I know, I just think that these are huge factors, and I think that people would like to know this information, and I think if we start exploring this information, it would get us one step closer to why people have gender dysphoria, instead of encouraging them to chop off their body parts and put them on medicine that makes them slaves for the rest of their lives, because they have to be on that medication for the rest of their lives. If you're a man and you have an inverted penis and you're having the sexual surgery, you have to take stuff, you have to do stuff to make sure that your fabricated vagina doesn't close. Because your body, whenever there's a gaping hole, whatever you have in your body, naturally is going to gravitate and try and heal itself. There's certain things that you have to do to keep that up. You know, if you're a woman, you have to pump it. You know, like it's like, but you're dependent on contraptions. You're dependent on medications. I personally think my friend that had the surgery, I don't know if she feels this way. I haven't talked to her about this since. So if she ever comes across this, it may be something, I don't know, she might be mad at me. But doing some of the research that I've done on hormones, synthetic hormones, I think the hormones actually made her schizophrenic. She's schizophrenic now, and she wasn't before. And I think that there are many different things that can induce schizophrenia. That's not the only thing, but I think that these hormones are really, really bad. Even for female birth control, like I can do a whole nother video on that. I'm not even for that. Like I don't think any kind of synthetic hormone is good for you long term, especially long term. So, you know, you think about the pharmaceutical industry and how they fund these politicians, and to me it just kind of moves forward this agenda of breaking up the family. Because then even you see people that are gay, their family finds out, and especially if they're like really religious, their family usually disowns them. They move away, they move out of the city. They're like, fuck the family. They don't have faith in the family. This is why, you know, people are like, oh, they're breaking up the family. They are. And, you know, oh, they're atheists. Oh, because they're rejecting religion and family because they feel that they've been betrayed by that. You know, imagine you're gay, you're not choosing to be gay. All you want is a relationship with your family, and your family's like, get the fuck away from me, you're terrible, you're abomination, you know, you're gonna burn in hell, and you're just owned. So now, being the human beings that we are, we want family, right? So you're gonna make your own. You're gonna find other human beings that have been rejected like you and form your own family. You're gonna reject the nuclear family and be like, well, this is my family, and this fucking bullshit, you know, like mom, dad, brother, sister, family is not about me. It's not the business, because they rejected me and they're fucking evil. And I've tried to tell them that I'm not gay and I'm not choosing this, and it's very torturous for me, but they don't believe me. They think I'm making it up. They think it's in my head, okay? So they're not talking about that, you know? And then AIDS is a huge thing. I'm hoping I can have this ready by December 1st, World AIDS Day. I'm working on something about AIDS, because just like the cancer industry and the vaccine industry, the AIDS industry is a huge moneymaker, and they're not going to cure, they're not looking like, they're not like, you're asking these people that are being funded by the pharmaceutical industry and the globalists to help you find a cure for AIDS? No, they want to keep you sick because they're making money. It keeps you disempowered. It keeps you from thinking straight. They'll never find a cure for you, okay? You're going to have to do it yourself. There's a cure out there, I believe. For those of you guys who are slightly intrigued by what I just said about that, look into Dr. Sebi. Look into what people say about him, because of course when there is somebody in the alternative world that has cured or claims he cures something, there are always trolls and other people that are going to bash that person. So you're going to have some time and research on your hands, but look at what they say about that person and then look at what the person says themselves. Have you ever been a victim of gossip, right? Where people have just blatantly made up stuff about you, right? The people that are like making up stuff about you, those are the trolls. But then you want people to hear your side too. So you're going to have to look at that person's side as well. So look at that. There's a couple of documentaries. Gary Null AIDS, like you can Google a Gary Null AIDS documentary. I forgot the name of it. House of Numbers, The Empire's New Virus. That will get your mind turning. Oh, and Peter Duesberg and Carrie Mullis. Carrie Mullis was the Nobel laureate who won the Nobel Prize in chemistry, and he invented one of the tests that they use. There's like the Western blot, the ELISA, the PCR tests, right? That test for AIDS. And as a person that invented the test that tests for AIDS, he actually pulled out of the AIDS game, and he thinks that's bullshit. Now, I think AIDS is real. I've had 2 friends that have died of AIDS. The controversy comes, you know, when you question this and people call you, oh, an AIDS denialist, but the controversy comes when what causes the immune breakdown, because AIDS is acquired immune deficiency syndrome. So it's a syndrome basically that attacks your immune system that causes you to break down. And you don't usually die of AIDS. Technically, you die of like the flu or pneumonia or something because your body couldn't fight it off, if that makes sense. So basically, your immune system is just broken down and can't fight anything off and you die, right? That's why when you get a vaccine, you shouldn't be around people that have AIDS, because vaccine sheds and they can get actually the disease that you were vaccinated for and die, okay? Just like cancer people, right? The chemotherapy like destroys their immune system. So, and my thing is, like, if they're constantly searching for something to kill this virus that causes AIDS, I think different things can cause AIDS, the immune system breakdown. By my research, by looking at the Dr. Sebi stuff and all the documentaries and stuff, right? If they're constantly sending people after this to look for a cure, right? If you're a scientist and you're like, I want to like find a cure for AIDS. If you're looking for something to kill the virus that causes AIDS, but the virus isn't causing the immune system breakdown, then you're being led down the wrong path and you're never going to find a cure, right? Dr. Sebi is the guy that cured Magic Johnson when Magic Johnson was diagnosed with AIDS. Oh my God, you now probably know how old I am. Okay, Magic Johnson is like, he is an old basketball player. He's like the LeBron James of today. So imagine a LeBron James like telling the world that he has AIDS. Like, it was crazy. People were like crying and shit. They're like, what do you got? And people are making sick jokes. What do you call Magic Johnson in a wheelchair? You'd be like, Rolades, you know, like it was terrible. It was crazy. It was crazy times. But anyway, Magic Johnson, according to his diagnosis, when he got diagnosed, he should have been already dead. Magic Johnson went outside the medical industrial complex and sought out this guy who is a world-renowned healer named Dr. Sebi. And he technically is an herbalist. He's not a medical doctor, but because he's not a medical doctor, I believe that's why he's had so much success, because he doesn't subscribe to the whole philosophy of like poison cut burn, right? Or just, anyway, he's a very interesting guy. It was believed that he was murdered as well. And, oh my God, I just went on a tangent. Getting back. So, gay people, like, these people are going to help you. Like, they're not. They're not. And it like breaks my heart and pisses me off at the same time, because I see the same shit with black people. I see the same shit. They're using the same mind games that they are with gay people, with black people. They're putting them in a state of fear. They're not talking about the real issues. They're not talking about the whole truth about things. They're giving you little slivers and playing on your fears and insecurities. You know, and there's a lot of self-hatred in the gay community. They have a huge crystal meth problem in the gay community. All right, they're not even talking about that shit. They're not even figuring out how to fix that problem because they're profiting off of it from financially and energetically. All right. Yeah, I was trying to clown when I was watching it because some of it was just so ridiculous, but then it just made me mad because I was just thinking about, you know, I love people. I love all kinds of people. I love people of different races. I love people of different, you know, nationalities, sexual orientations, ages, heights, whatever. Okay? Widths, whatever. I just don't like people, seeing people be played. And it's just like, you know, yeah. Anyway, this video is getting too long. I just wanted to say that, y'all. All right, peace, truth, love. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Mwah.